Have you ever felt like your life was perfect? You had it all together. Everything was going well for you, and suddenly, everything changed. He lived in the land of Uz, which some scholars believe was located in what is now northern Saudi Arabia. He was surrounded by family, health, and prosperity. Job feared God and turned away from evil. But one day, everything changed. Satan challenged God, saying, "Look at Job. He is faithful only because he is blessed. Take everything away, and he will curse you." He tore his clothes, shaved his head, and fell to the ground in worship, acknowledging God's sovereignty over his life. He declared, "The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." This shows us that no matter what happens in life, we should always remember that God is in control. Surrounded by his suffering, he never cursed God, but he cried out in pain and questioned God's actions. "Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth?" This shows that Job's friends had spoken against God, as well, and had not considered the bigger picture. He had been wrong to complain and argue with God's plan. As a result, God restored Job's health and gave him double of everything he had lost. Job also lived a long life, full of peace and blessings, and he had more children and grandchildren than before. Despite their bad advice, Job still chose to wait patiently for God to restore his faith. We can turn to him in prayer and ask for help, guidance, and comfort. Trust in God's plan for you, even when you don't understand it. Remember that suffering can sometimes lead to growth and deeper faith. And always remember that God is with you every step of the way. He is always ready to listen and to offer his support. How do you see this story applying to your own life and the challenges you face? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. He knew that God was just and would eventually explain why he was going through so much suffering. It shows us that even when we face unimaginable challenges, we must hold on to our faith and trust in God's plan for us. Suffering can come in many forms, from physical pain to emotional distress and financial struggles. But no matter what we go through, we should remember that God is with us, and he will never leave us or forsake us. When I made the world, you were not there. Can you command the morning or set the boundaries of the sea? Through these questions, God showed his friends that their understanding was limited and that they could not comprehend his wisdom or ways. When we face difficult times, we may not understand why things are happening, but we must trust that God has a reason for allowing us to go through them. We should also remember that God is just and will eventually reveal his plan to us if we have faith in it. They had tried to tell Job that he must have done something wrong to deserve his suffering, but in reality, they did not know the real reason behind his trials. Yet despite all this, he never turned away from God. Through our struggles, we learn valuable lessons about ourselves and the world around us. We discover our own inner strength and the support of those around us. We also learn to appreciate the blessings in our lives even more deeply. Job's story teaches us that even in the darkest moments, when we face unimaginable suffering and doubt, we must hold on to our faith and trust in God's plan. And we should trust in his plan for us, even when we don't understand it. Life can be like that. One minute, you're at the top of the world. The next minute, your world comes crashing down around you. Job suffered physically and emotionally, yet he still refused to curse God. His friends came to comfort him, but instead questioned him, suggesting that he must have sinned to deserve such suffering. Even his wife said, "Curse God and die." But Job replied, "Shall we accept good from God and not trouble?" Despite the pain and doubt, Job held on to his faith and belief in God's goodness and justice. Let's go back to the garden. Picture this. You're in the middle of a beautiful garden. The air is stale, and the smell of decay is all around you. You've been here for days, weeks, maybe even months, and you're starting to lose hope. Your body is weak and sore from the rough chains digging into your skin. You're desperate for a way out, but it seems impossible. Just when you think it can't get any worse, the dungeon door opens and a guard enters. He's gruff and unsympathetic, and he taunts you, saying that you deserve this and that there is no hope for escape. The trees are swaying gently in the breeze. Birds are singing sweetly in the branches above. You can feel the warm sun on your skin and hear the soft sound of running water nearby. It is a place of beauty and tranquility. Suddenly, a strong wind begins to blow through the garden. The trees start to shake violently, and the birds take flight with frightened squawks. The gentle breeze becomes a raging storm, and the peaceful quiet is replaced by the roar of the wind and the crash of falling branches. As the storm rages on, the beauty of the garden is lost, and all that remains is the sound of destruction. The book of Job tells the story of a man who experienced the highest highs and the lowest lows of life. A messenger arrived and told Job that all his cattle had been stolen. His servants were killed and his children died when a mighty wind struck the house they were in. Imagine the pain in Job's heart at that moment. He lost everything in an instant: his fortune, his family, his hope for the future. It was a devastating loss that left him feeling empty and hopeless. Job was a man of great wealth and deep faith. In this video, we're going to take a look at what happened next. What do you think God did? Well, let's find out together. That's how the story goes. For Job, One day everything changed. But Job didn't respond with anger or despair. Instead, he showed remarkable composure and faith in God. Yet the trial wasn't over. Satan afflicted Job with painful sores from head to toe. Imagine sitting in a dark, dank dungeon with thick, heavy chains binding your hands and feet. How would you react in that situation? Would you give up hope, or would you keep fighting for freedom? This is the challenge that Job faced. The Bible says that after Job had suffered greatly, God asked his friends. God continued to speak to Job and asked him, "Who is this that darkens my counsel without knowledge?" When God finished speaking, Job repented and admitted that he had not understood God's ways. This story teaches us that we should not try to understand God's plan. We see that Job's story is not just about suffering, but also about faith that endures the storm. At times, God may allow us to experience suffering because he knows that it will make us stronger and more resilient. But it's important to remember that if we're going through hard times, we're not alone. God is with us every step of the way. As we come to the end of this video, I want to encourage you to hold on to your faith no matter what you're going through. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What did you think of Job's story?